Welcome to season 2 of No Shelf Control, the podcast with books, booze, and banter hosted by authors for readers, because let's face it, we're all bookworms at heart.
This season, we will be chatting about book-to-screen adaptations and trending book talk books. I'm Lindsey Sparks.
And I'm Lindsey Pogue. Grab a cocktail, kick back, and enjoy the show. Yay, we're back.
Yay! It feels so good to be back. I'm so excited about what we're doing this season. That we just like randomly pulled out of nowhere. We're like, let's do season 2.
Yeah, well, we always knew we were coming back. We just didn't know exactly what we were going to be doing for season 2. But it's funny because I felt like I actually, I always would prepare because, when you're chatting with authors, but I feel like this one, we're you can talk about what we're doing, but I felt like I really had to take notes and prepare for this one.
Well, and I'll describe what season 2 is going to look like because it is going to be different. From season 1, but we'll get to that. But it relates to what you were just saying. So welcome everybody to the first episode of season 2 of the No Shelf Control podcast. Like we said, we are switching things up a bit this season. So we're going to focus less on, and by less, I mean not at all, probably. I mean, it could happen. You never know. But we're going to focus less on interviews with other authors. And we're going to focus on 2 different really exciting things. So we're going to alternate episodes. So once a month, we're going to do an episode focusing on a book to screen adaptation, be that a movie or a show. And the other episode, because we do it every other week, the other episode each month, we're going to do a popular book talk book because both LP and I are focusing so much of our social media efforts on TikTok. And the sub community for readers book talk, that it just made sense. And we both I feel like we're both always, whenever we have our meetings, we're always checking in and talking about how the next book we're going to read is a book that we learned about on book talk. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, we're starting to buy more hardcovers and paperbacks and more. It's a sickness.
It's a disease.
It's a disease. So we are incorporating that. We had a blast talking with authors.
Yes.
It was so much fun. We got to read so many books we don't usually read.
Yeah, but I think that was part of the thing. So I think listeners were probably sick of hearing me say this isn't my usual genre. And it's well, at this point it is my usual genre, because that was just what those were the mostly contemporary romance authors were the ones that we were able to schedule to come on the show. But it's not my usual genre and I don't have very much time to read. And I know you are busy with tons of other things also. And we both just wanted to be able to incorporate more of the books that we have on our ever-growing TBRs.
Yeah. Well, because, and like we said in the beginning, we are bookworms. And I think that's one thing that I've been struggling with. And I feel like over the last 1.5 years, 2 years having the show, one of the things I keep saying is, I wish I was reading more. My goal this year is to read more. And so it's always been a struggle. And so this allows us to really read the stuff that is on our list and, really read the stuff that we're passionate about and that sort of thing. So I'm excited. I feel like I can buy a book now and I can actually will read it,
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, my husband probably doesn't think that, but I
do. Multiple times a week, I'll get packages that are books. And it's just at this point, he's just this is for you. This is for you. I'm like, another book.
So anyway, it's exciting. It's exciting. And, some news, this is a huge thing for me. I actually signed up for Book of the Month. So I'm really loving that too. I've never had a book subscription before. Again, thank you so much, Book Talk, because again, it is seeping into every aspect of my life.
Oh my gosh, it totally is. I signed up for, so I was doing Once Upon a Book Club, which didn't really fit into my genre preferences very well, even though it's so fun. I love the concept of they put the little page, or there's four presents, they're all wrapped up that come with it, and then when you get to the page number that the present goes with, then you unwrap it and it has something to do with what you're reading. It's super fun. But it's also now I've got a bunch of books on my shelf that are not necessarily books I would have picked out for myself. So I decided to switch it up, and I've gone over to Bookish Box, which is very much more like fantasy romance, which is my thing. I am still like stuck in the YA one, the YA subscription. I'm trying to get into the adult subscription, but they're so popular. Their wait list is so long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but the thing about that I love about them is that they have the most beautiful books. They're so beautiful. They're all special editions with like the like gilded faux leather covers, and then they have like the reversible dust jackets, so you get all of this beautiful character art with it. I'm just real I'm really I haven't even received my first one yet, and I'm already super excited. But it's been very inspirational for me in terms of the special editions that I'm planning for my own stuff. So
yeah, that's always helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business expense.
No, just kidding.
Anyway, so yeah, we did we really genuinely loved talking to other authors. But we definitely, when we first conceived of this podcast years ago at this point, we wanted it to be for readers. And we want to like come back to that and pull the like reading passion back out of ourselves and be able to discuss the books that we're so excited and passionate about.
And dissect them if we're like, dude, this is not what I thought it was going to be. You know, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So, okay. So for this specific episode, season 2, episode 1, we were like, let's do something really big. So we decided to do, because we both love Henry Cavill and The Witcher, and Henry Cavill as The Witcher, and like all of his grunting, and I'm sure people watch it for other reasons as well, but his grunting is like amazing, and like his tight pants, it's really tight leather pants.
I have a note about that in a minute.
Yes. Okay, anyway.
This is too funny. Gotta put my hair for this, ladies and gentlemen.
So for this episode we read, and there's going to be like a bunch of like disclaimers here. So we read The Last Wish by, I cannot pronounce his name. Do you want to try?
I don't even have it in front of me, so I'm going to say no.
Andrzej Sapkowski.
Hey, that's better than I would have done. Good job.
I feel like when I think we both listened to the audiobook, right? Yeah. I feel like the narrator pronounced the author's name in a way that I was not expecting. So I do not think that I said it right. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so we read The Last Wish, which is the first of 2 short story collections that's then followed by some novels in the Witcher series. And then we watched season 1. LP watched also season 2. I just haven't had time. I've only watched the first episode, not for lack of wanting to, but I just wanted to use my time in preparing for this episode to rewatch season 1, because this is something I'm sure we're going to talk about. It's super confusing.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
Anyway, so we're going to be discussing specifically season 1 of The Witcher, the show on Netflix. We're not going to be discussing the video games, even though I do have one of them. I have only played a little bit of it at this point because I don't really have a lot of time for video games. But as a lot of people know, the video games are a big part of the franchise as well. And according to the internet, season 1 of The Witcher on Netflix also includes elements of Sword of Destiny, which is, I believe, the second short story collection, and The Blood of Elves, which I believe is a novel in the series. And I think The Blood of Elves is when they start to dive into a lot of the series storyline. And it sounds like Sword of Destiny is more of the like episode of the week adventures, kind of like what was in The Last Wish. And neither of us have read either of those.
No. So this is all sort of starting to make a little bit more sense as to why they did what they did.
I know it
even
is.
Though it still is ridiculous.
But I still like, I kept thinking, I was like, this does not, I was like, I have a bunch of other suggestions of ways they could have done it. Not that they're going to like listen to me or go back and revise.
Bring Henry back. We're redoing this one.
Can I just talk to Henry? I think that he would be really interested in what I had to say. Do we want me to should I hold off on reading the book description until
let's hold off. Let's just catch up and do whatever we do.
Yeah.
And then
so,
we can dive
it's been a while since we've recorded the show. A couple months, I want to say. I feel
maybe even longer. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
LP and I have been talking since, I mean, we meet every other week anyway, so it's not like we haven't seen each other, so or talked about reading or anything. But well, I guess for this kickoff season 2 episode, please tell me you're drinking something fun.
I'm drinking bubbles. I'm drinking bubbles tonight
in your giant wine glass.
I know. Well, I'm always afraid I'm going to knock the skinny ones over because I'm really klutzy. So the big one is, this is pretty big, huh? And then the closer I get, the bigger it gets. Oh, what if it was this big and I was drinking it?
Well, I have red wine. I want to say it's a cab. I should have looked. It's from one of my favorite wineries, Novelty Hill, Washington Wineries. Nice. And it tastes really good because I haven't had wine for a couple days. So
fancy.
Yeah.
Splurging.
Yeah. So you have those really pretty flutes still, don't you? The stemless ones.
Mm-hmm.
The gold on the bottom.
They are, they have like silver and gold. What do you call it? Like
leafing?
Yeah, leafing. That's what they call it. The problem is they're all handmade, and so they don't have flat bottom. Like they're not like, structurally sound when it comes to being around any sort of technology. Yeah, and that too. Like I would totally knock it over. But yeah, I do still have those. I think those are a wedding gift actually.
They're so
going
pretty.
Strong. Anyways, we like wine, guys. That's all.
That's why it's the Books, Booze, and Banter podcast. Yeah. It should be like the Books, Wine. No, because you drink a lot of cocktails. So
it's funny. My dad is visiting, and we were having dinner last night, and Katie, my sister, brought up the podcast, and we were talking about, I don't know how it came up that, we drink on it. And my dad's like, you have a podcast and you drink? I'm like, yeah, that's what it's about. Like we drink, we talk about books and we drink. And I feel like, so he's all for it, whatever, but he was just very confused by that.
So this is like Tyrion would fit on this podcast.
Yeah. I drink and I know
things.
Yeah.
I drink and I read things. Yeah. Okay, so then on that note, what are you reading right now besides The Last Wish?
Okay, so as we were saying, I mean, I seriously want to get back into reading, so I've been really trying. I have a paperback going right now, which I don't get to do very often. I'm reading How to Kill a Kingdom and I believe it's considered YA. It feels YA, by Alexandra Christo.
Do you have it right there?
No, I should. Sorry. It has like a octopus tentacles on the front and has a sword.
Oh, I know the cover. Oh, it's really pretty. It's kind of like teal.
Yeah, teal, and it's like ocean. Yes. It's really kind of artsy.
I really like that cover.
Anyway, it is a like a YA retelling of kind of like a gritty Little Mermaid. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I just finished The Witcher, and then right when I finished that audiobook, which was amazing, the narration was amazing.
It was.
I started reading or listening to I think her name's Sally Thorne. But anyway, the Hating Game. Yeah, Sally Thorne, Hating Game. It's a rom-com. They made it into a movie on Netflix, and I want to watch the movie on Netflix, so I wanted to listen to it first. And so far I am loving it. It's super cute and funny. So
is it like
it's about these two people who they work at a publishing company, which is really cool. They can't stand each other. They are both executive assistants, I believe, for the people who run the publishing house. They, there's like two opposing sides, and they can't stand each other, and they play all these games. Like, just, it's really like there's so much sexual tension, and they act like they hate each other, but they don't, and you can't wait for whatever's gonna happen to happen, But it's really cute, and it's fun is the way it's written, and all these ways that they're incorporating, like when you're in the workplace, these silly games you can play, not even realizing you're playing them, as far as like all this tit for tat and like talking crap about each other. And I don't know, it's just fun. I'm really enjoying it so far. But anyway,
that sounds fun.
Yeah. What about you?
I obviously just finished The Last Wish, and I am reading Echo in Time for another podcast. So where it's called Read by the Author, where I read my books. Well, I have one more episode of Echo in Time, which is the first book in the Echo trilogy. And then pretty sure, like, she has confirmed that she's going to do it. I just don't have the stuff yet from her. But our good author friend, Tara Benner, is going to come on, and she's going to read, or there's going to be like a season 1.5, and she's going to read Blood Ties, I believe is the name of the novella. It's like a prequel novella for her Witches of Mountain Shadow series, which is like a contemporary romance, small town, not contemporary romance, sorry, contemporary fantasy, small town thing. Kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like practical magic, but also kind of like, it's like a little bit urban fantasy.
What was it? Witches of East
Witches.
Witches of something.
Witches of Mountain Shadow is the name of the series.
No. I was going to compare it to a Witches
of East End. Yeah.
Pretty
similar to that. Yeah.
I kind of got that vibe looking at the cover. I haven't read it, but
yeah, very much. But I haven't read the novella yet. But I remember when she was writing it, and I feel like she said it was like kind of reminiscent of like Supernatural, that kind of thing. So with Sam and Dean. So because it's two brothers. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I am about to start Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breene, who I absolutely adore her books. That's
the Beauty and the Beast retelling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I
think I have that one. I haven't started it yet.
Yeah, LP's on a Beauty and the Beast retelling thing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read that. It's supposed to be pretty spicy and a little dark. And my reading group, I keep calling it my reading group. It's my reader group. So the group that my readers are in on Facebook, they are reading that this month. So I'm excited to jump in and talk to them about that. Highly recommend K.F. Breene's books if anybody likes fantasy romance and has not read them yet. Especially The Demigods of San Francisco, which starts with Sin and Chocolate. It's really good.
I did listen to that one. I think
it's really good. And then the Magical Midlife Madness series, which is a paranormal women's fiction. So it's like middle-aged heroines. I adore that series. I genuinely love that series, and it's hilarious. And there's a like gargoyle butler who I am almost positive that the narrator purposely tries to emulate oh my god, what is his name? The only thing I love him. He's in a gazillion. He was the dad in the new Emma.
I call him Victor.
Yes, Victor. Yes.
Yeah. From Underworld. Yeah. I love him too.
Oh my god, what
Love
is his
Actually.
name? Yeah. And he was in an amazing movie that is totally underrated, About Time. So good. Bill Nighy.
There you go. Yeah.
Bill Nighy? Am I confusing that with Bill Nye?
No, I think that's his name.
Okay. Anyway, he's awesome. I'm like 99.9% convinced that the narrator is like, this is what I'm going for, because she sounds just like
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's a really, really good series. Anyway, so I'm very excited about Ruin of Roses, or just Ruin of Roses. I'm not sure. That's what I have going on though.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yay, we're reading books. I just want to keep up the momentum now, because I also have like a legit book club too, and we meet every month, and so I need to keep that in the mix too.
What are you guys reading for the book club this month?
Well, we've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I think I'm convincing everybody to check out the Hating Game, because that way we can all get together and watch the movie.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna meet in a couple weeks, and then I'm pretty sure they're all on board to read and watch it, but we want to at least catch up, and we'll watch it sometime. But yeah. So that's anyway, fun. Want to do something fun. So anyway, yeah. It's exciting. I'm just glad that we're getting to read a little bit more, or I am anyway. I feel hopeful.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you working on right now? Or have you released anything really exciting, or how much has happened in the last
since the last time?
Recap every single thing that's happened in the last 3 months.
Detail. No, so long story short, everything is good to go with City of Ruin. That's my gothic dystopian Beauty and the Beast and Jane Eyre retelling that comes out June 14th. So have that with the proofreaders right now. Podium has it for the audiobook, and I'm really excited. So that's going to be ready soon. Sea of Storms, which is the second book in my Ruined Land series, that is it's a Norse inspired Robin Hood tale. It's a lot of Norse mythology, more than I expected. But I wrote the end yesterday, sent it to my alpha reader, so that's out there in the world. And yeah, so actually today was my day to not work. That didn't happen at all. Like, I was going to take today off. I did watch some of The Witcher because I've already seen season 1 twice, and then but that was a while ago, and so I wanted to kind of catch up a little bit on the episodes that I was kind of confused between the book, whatever. So there were a couple of them that I rewatched today. That was like my time off today. But other than that, like, I'm really trying to be kind to myself. And my dad's also visiting from Hawaii, so I'm trying not to do too much for the next 4 days, and then maybe dive in on Monday. But that's the gist of it. How about you?
Well, I finally released Song of Scarabs and Fallen Stars, which I feel like I had been talking about forever.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that came out at the end of March, and it's been doing really well. Readers have really been loving it. And now I am almost done with the revisions on the 3rd draft of Blood of the Broken, which is the 5th book in the Atlantis Legacy series, and it's brutal. My God, I almost made myself cry this morning. I was just like, oh, like this is going to be one of those ones where people are like, oh my gosh, I hate you so much, but I love you because like, I can't stop crying. Yeah, it's got like a really brutal middle, so you're getting it tomorrow. Well, LP is getting it tomorrow.
Yes,
because she's one of my beta readers. And when I say you're getting it tomorrow, you're getting like
the first
2/3 of it tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm on chapter 21. It has 35 chapters, and I should be able to get 4 or 5 more chapters done tomorrow. So then I think I'll be able to finish it probably Monday or Tuesday and send the remainder. But yeah, I feel like with all of my books, like the first part is always, it just takes me a long time to do the revisions on like the first like quarter of the book, because it's like all the setup.
Yeah,
and you have to, like,
I'm 100%. I know what you mean. Yeah.
But now it's like in the like ball is rolling part, and so I'm like, all right, I'm going. But in non-writing projects, well, I do have some fun announcements, but I have received, I know I was talking about this before we went on our hiatus for the podcast, but I have Julia Whalen, Stina Nielsen, and Dana Day and Neil Thorne are the 4 narrators. I didn't have Neil Thorne at that point. I'm not sure if I had Stina Nielsen at that point either, signed on. They have all either recorded. I already have Julia Whalen's chapters as Kat for the Song of Scarabs and Fallen Stars audiobook. Those are done. It's all sealed up. I have Neil's chapter. My assistant is proofing it currently, and that should be sealed up hopefully in the next day or 2. And Stina is a machine. She sends like 6 chapters a day. So we are way behind her in terms of proofing, but she is amazing. Stina Nielsen, for those who don't know, is the narrator who did the From Blood and Ash series. She is wonderful. I'm so excited about this audiobook, and I don't have any of Dana's chapters yet, but I've worked with her so much. I have no concerns. And there's only like 4 chapters. So for her, but oh man, this audiobook is going to be so cool. I'm so excited. And spending so much money on illustrations and cover art and stuff, because I am getting everyone lined up and reserved for the Echo Trilogy special editions right now. And these things, I'm like, I'm going to do a Kickstarter and stuff probably in, I don't know, January or February. But I'm getting everything now so that I have like the pictures of stuff to show people on the Kickstarter. But I just put down the deposit for this artist, and her name is Sonia Matas, I want to say. I hope I didn't get that wrong. She is amazing. She is amazing. And like the way she does light, I'm just trying to, I want to actually to be able to tell people her actual name. Sonia, her on Instagram, she's Sonia_MS_. Sonia Matas. The way she uses light, and then she's collaborating with another artist for this project, but she's doing the way she uses light reminds me completely of the like magic, the time magic in the Echo Trilogy. Like it's all very like glowy and rainbowy. It is stunning.
And she's doing your tarot cards?
No. She's doing the dust jackets.
Okay.
On the Echo Trilogy special editions. She is just like so good. And like I said, she has a collaborator that she's working with who I will put in the show notes to reference both of them. And then I'm talking to someone else about doing the naked cover, so like the actual book itself. And we're still in the talks, so we haven't, like, there's no deposit has been paid or anything like that. But she's very excited. And then I have the tarot cards are coming in. I've already posted a couple of them in my reader group. So I have an illustrator. Her name is Elyssa. And her company is Print is Dead UK. It's very like gothic macabre looking.
Oh, Print is Dead.
Yeah.
I heard princess is dead. And I was like,
no.
Well, that's nice.
No, Print is Dead.
Got it. Yeah.
And she are just like, when I was first looking for illustrators for special editions, I came across her and I was like, I don't feel like she's right for the book covers that I'm thinking of, but I was like, but she is her work was exactly like how I pictured Kat's art to be in her tarot cards. And I was like, oh, I know I'm going to be doing a tarot card deck. So I reached out to her, and it just so happened that she could start like a month after I reached out to her. So she has been reading through all the books. She has sent me several cards. They're up in my reader group. She's the Empress is up, and the Star, which is great because they were both cards that were featured in Song of Scarabs and Fallen Stars, which is kind of fun because that's the most recent book that's come out. And I'm so happy with how they're turning out, and I'm so excited about this massive project. So it's just, I feel like having my words turned into art is one of the things that I have been looking forward to for, so it's like one step below having my books adapted for like film or TV, is like having someone else just like put a visual spin on them. It's very exciting.
That's very cool.
Yeah. I think that's everything that I've commissioned so far.
I feel like people watching this or listening as I'm thinking about this and listening to you I already knew all of this. So I feel like people like, God, Lindsey's like sitting there like, it's not because I don't think it's cool. I already know. I mean, I think it's more for readers or listeners. But yeah, I keep forgetting like we're recording this visually as well. So I'm just like sitting here, just like letting you talk. And then I was like, oh yeah, they're like, Lindsey could give two shits. I'm like, oh, sorry guys. Anyway,
yeah. I'm really excited to be able to start sharing the tarot cards on my Facebook page and Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. I just don't have the finals yet for those images, but nice. We're going to be doing like finals in like groups of 3 and 4. So as soon as we have them finalized and she sends me like the high resolution files, then I'm going to start actually getting to share them. And I'm really excited. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
That is really exciting. That really is.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I mean, there's probably other stuff that I'm working on, but I feel like I've been talking for like a really long time. So I'm just going to cut myself off there.
Yeah. That's funny. Sorry.
Anyway, are we ready to introduce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to read the description of The Last Wish that I yoinked off of Amazon. And then I will direct us through a little guided discussion.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay. So
I guess we should all definitely spoilers, everybody.
oh yes. Oh,
spoilers. We are talking about the show. I
rewrote all my stuff, so I don't
Yeah.
have my spoiler warning in there.
No, it's fine.
Major spoiler warning.
Yeah,
this would be the point to hop off of the podcast if you have not watched, if you are sensitive to spoilers, like any other sane person. And if you haven't watched The Witcher season 1, LP may drop some Witcher season 2 spoilers, you never know. And on
accident.
And if you haven't read The Last Wish. So we are not censoring ourselves. And I'm flinging my headphone cord around.
And we're not even drunk. Okay.
We're not even, I've had like 4 sips of wine at this point. So anyway, The Last Wish. Geralt, I know I'm saying it. Geralt, the Witcher. It's a very difficult name to say.
Do it. No, I'm gonna screw so many things up. You don't even get me started. Go ahead. You're good.
Geralt, the Witcher, revered and hated, holds the line against the monsters plaguing humanity in this collection of adventures. The first chapter in groundbreaking epic fantasy. I'm sorry, I cannot say your name. Andrzej Sapkowski. It's like with a RZEJ. I don't know how that is supposed to work. Groundbreaking epic fantasy series that inspired the hit Netflix show and the blockbuster video games. Geralt is a witcher, a man whose magic powers, enhanced by long training and a mysterious elixir, have made him a brilliant fighter and merciless hunter. Yet he is no ordinary killer. His sole purpose, to destroy the monsters that plague the world. But not everything monstrous looking is evil, and not everything fair is good. And in every fairy tale, there is a grain of truth.
Nice. Can I just say, I've actually never read the blurb before. That would have been so helpful before listening to the book, because one of the big things, and we can talk about this more later, but the way the story is told is very segmented in the book, as far as it's in chunks, and it doesn't flow. It's not like a novel that starts from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, no.
So that makes sense. It says a collection of adventure or whatever you said. So yeah, that makes sense.
Collection of adventures. I like that. In this collection of adventures.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
It really is.
Like thrown together. Yeah.
So let's start off by saying, let's talk about our favorite things about the book.
Okay.
So I'm gonna jump in with one thing.
Yeah, good.
Which is I really liked that I had no idea, which is silly because it doesn't come across really in season 1, although in the first episode of season 2 it kind of does. It's like so much based on fairy tales. There's so much stuff in here that's based on fairy tales.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, really.
In the show?
Yeah.
But in the book, it's like there's with Renfrey, and she has the 7 dwarves, like that they're talking about. They're like very grim, dark versions of the fairy tale. And there's the very clear Beauty and the Beast thing.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that in the show, because I wasn't trying to connect, like, I know we're not talking about the show yet, but because I wasn't trying, I'm going to do it anyway. When I was watching season 1 of the show the first time, I wasn't trying to connect it with that wasn't even in my head, fairy tales. But when I watched it this time, I was already thinking about fairy tales because I had already gotten to the Beauty and the Beast story. And Yennefer's story is a little Cinderella-y.
Well, so is the whole scene in the castle with the knight who comes with the hedgehog face or whatever.
Yeah.
That's also very Cinderella-y because he has still the stroke of midnight and then he'll change into a human form.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Yeah.
Do you like how you use 0 names?
Yeah.
I literally can't remember anybody, but Dooney. I will.
Dooney.
Yeah. The hedgehog.
Name is the hedgehog guy, the hedgehog knight. I mean, I'm pretty sure his name was like Sir Urchin or something, which is like kind of silly because he looks like a sea urchin.
I watched, that was one of the episodes that I really wanted to rewatch today because I wanted to see how close that was to the scene in the book. And yeah, I was noticing that.
Let's definitely talk about that when we get to comparing the two, because I want to talk about that specific episode and that specific story in the book. So I really loved that, the fairy tale connection in the books. And then also, I mean, I loved the Beauty and the Beast story, which was, I don't know which one it was, but it was like the second one, maybe.
Yeah.
In the book.
But it's not in the show. Yeah. So
it's in season 2.
Yeah. People just don't get confused. It's not in season 1.
And I only know that because it's the first episode of season 1 or of season 2, and I'm in the middle of it right now. And the other thing that I really liked, I mean, there's lots of things that I liked about the book. The narrator is really good. But I also, and this is going to come into the comparison a little bit, but I genuinely really liked the format for this short story collection. And it reminded me a lot, I'm going to plug one of our books. It reminded me a lot of World Before, the way that we did that with because it has there's the short story, the collection of the adventures, the individual adventures that are kind of standalone-y. And then there's
the characters.
Yeah. And then there's the voice of reason interludes that's seems to be happening in one single chunk of time, but that's just broken up, throughout. It kind of reminded me of how we did World Before with Zoe and then the stories. But I liked that format. I think I was I had a hard time following it at first because I was expecting something similar to what the show had done.
Yeah.
And it caught me a little bit off guard, but it was so much easier to follow in here.
Yeah. No, I think I had the narrator down, was amazing. Yeah. I can't believe how good he was. I mean, he did the beast with I forget his name, the character, but with the tusks in his mouth, he did a great job. The goat, he did a great, I'm not really goat either. I forget what they call him, but anyway, it's just did such a good job with all of them. I just really enjoyed it. But I think for me, the biggest thing that was helpful is, I've talked to you before about how epic fantasy is really hard for me as far as reading it. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around all the new things and trying to picture everything. And I really enjoy watching, especially if it's historical. It's I don't know, I really like historical fantasy stuff, especially watching it. But when it comes to something like this that is so intricate and there's so much world building, I really enjoyed being able to read about that more than just trying to figure it out on screen, because there's so much that I feel they didn't do a great job of showing or telling in the show. There's some things I'm kind of glad they didn't, spend a lot of time on, but one of it was the law of surprise and all that. I feel like they could have explained all that so much more in the show that it would have made more sense to me. So that was one of the reasons why I went back and watched some of the episodes today, because I was just, so many other things were clicking, and it started to make sense. So I really appreciated how much more you learn, even just about the characters too, that you're meeting on screen when you're watching the show. So I really just liked more explanation and more being able to really experience the world building a little bit more, not just visually, but understand it, know? So I really liked that. So those are my 2 things. So
cool. What were your favorite things about the show?
I really like that. So I'm going to call him the Bard, but I know in the book they call him Dandelion, right?
Yes. Dandelion. Yeah. But we were laughing about this before we started the show because it's spelled dandelion, but the narrator
Dandelion. But they don't call him that in the show. So anyway, I'm just gonna call him the Bard. But anyway, I really like that he was very much a part of the entire show, essentially from episode 2 on. Mm-hmm. Because I think he adds such a great layer. He's such a good counterpart to, The Witcher. So I think it was really good on their end. That was a really smart thing for them to do, because he's such a likable character, even in the book.
And he's so the witty comedic relief kind of he's just silly.
And I really like that they really took him up a notch in the show, and they made him really like, he's so freaking funny, and he has some amazing one-liner. He even has like this humor. It's like you could miss it. It's just so witty, you know? So I really, really enjoyed that. And
can I butt in here really quick?
Yeah, of course.
Did you watch Xena like when you were growing up?
Eons ago, yeah.
You remember Joxer? Joxer the mighty, he is a hero.
Oh no, I mean, if I saw him, probably. Did he have like big nice abs or something? I don't know.
No, he was not he was more of I'm trying not to like offend anybody here. He wasn't like Aries. He was like a kind of nerdy kind of.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure if I saw him, I might recognize him. I did watch that show for a long time.
So. Oh yeah. Jaskier, the way that they've done him reminds me a little bit of Joxer.
Nice.
And he has like a theme song and stuff. So. Oh,
I love that. Yeah. No, I don't remember that. Yeah. So he's great. This is not on my list, but if we're going to go back to the pants thing that I was saying earlier, talking about the tight pants, there's actually, and I totally didn't catch it. I would have not known this if I hadn't watched it for a third time today. And it's funny, you guys, I just have to say that like, I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I'm not obsessed with it by any means. Like it's not one of those shows where like Vikings, I will watch that over and over and over again. This, I enjoyed it and whatever, it was fine. But again, this kind of stuff is a little hard for my little brain to grasp. So the fact that I've actually seen it 3 times now, the first season, is really weird for me. But it's just funny that you brought up the tight pants, because there's a scene when he first meets Yennefer, and remember that line when she said, "You take a bath because I can smell the breed of your horse and everything just off of it." Yeah,
that was from the book.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's actually in the show too. And when she gives him clothes and she, makes him magically appear, whatever, he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you're, you have magic, so you can make these clothes appear." He's like, "Where'd you get these?" And then when he comes out wearing them, he's like, "These are so tight." And she was like, "No, they fit just fine." So I thought that was so funny.
I love Yennefer.
They even have him comment on it. It's just so funny. Yeah. But anyway, what else?
I do have to say, like, speaking talking, I found this hilarious. So talking about, because they reference it in the book as well, but in the show, I feel like they like, it becomes like almost a joke, but people talking about Geralt needing like a bath or like
all the time.
It's constant.
Yeah.
I'm like, this poor guy.
Yeah.
It's like they needed to counter his like gloriousness as Henry Cavill, like just being this monstrous,
and all he does is like
beautiful man.
You can just glare at him and he's like, mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was one of the things that I also liked about the show is in the book, I feel like he's a lot more introspective as far as, and it makes sense, it's the book, but I feel like he really has a hard time not fitting in with humanity a lot in the book. And you definitely get that in the show, but it's not something that weighs on him, at least that you can see. I almost feel like the show with his character development picks up kind of where this leaves off as far as him kind of accepting who he is and like moving forward, it does. The show kind of, the book itself seems like, as far as his character development, takes place way earlier, and he's really coming to grasp with just being the Witcher and being an outcast. And
I think in the book they make it clearer that the broad span of time that passes between the first story and the last story, because they reference him as like a young Witcher and like all this stuff, and then he's like wiser and more aged, even though he doesn't actually physically age. But like by the end, and he gets more well known and renowned, and like the White Wolf and all that stuff. Like
to the Bard, he'll make sure.
To the Bard. Yeah, I know, right? Dandelion. I appreciated how that developed in the books. He does seem more just like accepting of his loneriness in the show, that he's just kind of like, that's all right, that's just how I am.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that was really good. And there was one other thing, I think, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. We can figure it out. Go ahead.
There were, I really love a lot of things about the show. I my like really only criticism about the show is the whole chronology issue, which I think that they could have handled a lot better. Clearly it hasn't hindered the show at all. People adore it. But I just like, I loved how much more we got like for Yennefer and her whole, you know, she's a very much a main character in the show, whereas we only meet her she's referenced throughout the book, but we don't meet her
until the end.
Almost
the end.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I really like about the show too, is getting to see even Triss, like she's in the first season.
Yes.
But she's not even mentioned in this book.
Yeah. I wonder,
right?
She's not. I didn't think so either. But I'm wondering if she is a bigger character in later books.
She's gonna have to be, because she's huge. Yeah, she's a lot in
I love her character. I loved the whole like in the show, I loved the whole, is it called Artesia or whatever, the wizard, where the sorceresses train and stuff, that whole situation. And just like
none of that was in the book. Yeah, for sure. That again, but see, that's another question though. So because that's going back in the timeline, does that mean the other books start back in time? Because they all have to, you know what I mean?
Maybe, I don't know. Like
I don't know either.
I feel like I wish for the show, now that I've read this book, even though we don't get to know Ciri, there's no Ciri in this, we do get to see her, Dooney and her
mom.
What is her mom's name?
I forget already.
Queen Calanthe is her grandma of Sintra. But we get to see that whole situation, and we get to know more about Calanthe and her kind of like, I found her really fascinating in the show. I found her character really it was not
unlikable,
very unlikable in the book.
Me too. I totally agree. I was kind of wondering if that was just me. I was like, maybe I was just wasn't paying.
Like her rewatching, like I remember thinking that she was like a strong, very interesting, strong kind of woman in the first time I watched it. I found her a little bit more annoying the second time in the show. But I still found her to be like a very interesting and complex character. In the book, I just thought she was kind of unlikable. Yeah. Which is, I think that the show is 8 episodes long, so they're able to like expand on a lot of things. You can show a lot more visually as well. I really loved, so there's a scene with Yennefer, which again doesn't really appear because we don't get to see any of her backstory in this book. But there's a scene at the end of her training, and there's like this big dance thing happening with all the kings, and they're getting to know their posts because they're all the sorcerers and sorceresses are going off to court. And she comes out, she's not supposed to, she like missed the ascension, so she wasn't supposed to get to like have her like hunchback removed and turn into like the beautiful woman that she is.
Ugly duckling reveal. Another fairy tale.
But it reminded me of one of my very favorite movies, which is a Cinderella retelling, which is Ever After, when Danielle comes out in her like wing ball gown thing, and she's like, breathe, just breathe. That moment was totally, I felt like the Yennefer entering the ball was like, it totally felt like a recall to that, and like everybody kind of like stops and looks, and she's just standing there. I don't know, it was very similar to that.
Speaking of things that I remember, so this was really fascinating to me. It was so hard for me not to text you because I'm like, okay, Lindsey, you guys are gonna talk in like 4 hours, don't talk about it. So the whole Jen scene, so with the genie, that whole scene in the book is not it has nothing to do with Geralt, but Geralt. But I just call him the Witcher, it's so much easier. But in the show, it's 100% about him, and it has everything to do with Ciri and the whole the destiny thing and how he's ignoring it and he can't sleep and all these things. So that was really fascinating that they completely changed like who
The
was
gin
doing
thing,
what,
rather than just like out for a fun little fishing trip with Dandelion, the bard.
Yeah. I mean, it even changed to the point where he was feeling all that guilt because he was so aggravated that he was saying cruel things to the bard, and then the bard is, dying, and then he's freaking out because his friend, the last thing he said to him was something horrible. Like, it changed so many things for the Witcher's character by switching that scene up. So I thought I really liked that. I thought it was a really interesting thing. And going back and rewatching it, it really helped me again understand better, since I'd already listened to the book, to understand the whole how destiny really plays a part in this book, as far as like really understanding the what is it, the something of surprise, what is it
Child
called?
surprise
Child surprise, and then the law of surprise, and all of that, again, because it made so much more sense to me after listening to the book, that before I didn't really get why he wasn't sleeping. But I didn't get that at all. I remembered that, but I didn't get why. So
and I really loved that episode, the gin episode, because that's when Geralt and Yennefer first meet, which is really exciting. And also some of the visuals in that episode are so cool. Like the whole, like, he comes in and he's like, there's like the fog in the house. He's like, what is going
this
on?
Orgy going
there's like
on?
This massive orgy, and it's like this really artsy orgy where it's like there's just like everybody's moving in like one rhythm.
And then he picks up the tanker and he's like, I brought your apple juice.
I know. And he just tosses Jaskier like off to the side. It's just like resting against this woman's boobs.
Exactly. He was just, oh my God, that was funny. I was actually laughing breathe. A lot. I was laughing a lot.
And Yennefer's up there just like extremely bored by the whole situation. I thought that was it was really smart, but I felt like that reveal of Yennefer was way more dramatic, obviously way more dramatic because it was in the middle of like a massive orgy, but it said so much about her character and where she was at this point. And I'm gonna rewind a minute to talk about another thing that happens with her, but because we are seeing them in these snippets, and the way that they chose to do this, but is strange, but because we are seeing them over time, like generally is chronological, but I think that the thing that makes it really confusing is the Ciri parts. I feel because I went back and I looked at timelines and stuff, and it seems like Geralt's storyline and Yennefer's storyline
those are
chronological in line with each other for the most part. And like what is going on with each of them at the same time. But then Ciri's thing doesn't really happen until the end, but we also meet her at the very beginning, and like the stuff I wish they would have just done like the way that I wish they would have done it would be to just do like a prologue kind of style thing where you get to see like the Sintra under attack and like Queen Calantha, like the part where she's like, Geralt is your destiny, and sends off Ciri, and then she jumps from the window. Spoiler, like so many spoilers. I wish that they had that as the very opening scene, and then we hadn't seen them again until they fit into the timeline. That's what I wish they had done.
You know what would have been awesome? So if they would have like keep with his timeline, okay, then he's like, oh, you don't have to repay me for, saving your life. Just, okay, fine. If you insist, then the law surprise. And then she, they find out that she's pregnant, and the first thing he says is fuck. And then he turns around and he walks out. What if it jumped to however many years later, and then the queen's died, she's tossing herself out the window, the child's running away, because he flat out says, you are going to wreak havoc on the world. And he goes, I don't fucking care. I'm not dealing with this. And he walks out. So how funny would that be?
What a like massive commentary about like absentee fathers. He's not the father of this child, but like destiny has kind of named him as that. And it's like, if you don't claim your responsibility, the world is gonna burn.
I know. I need to rewatch season 2 now because there's so many things you learn in there that now I'm kind of confused. So I'm like, now that I've rewatched the first season, anyway, it doesn't matter. But
I am really excited. I wish somebody would like come out and do an edit of the show where it actually is in like more chronological order, like a fan edit.
Yeah,
that would make more sense. I did want to say I really loved, there were a couple other things that I really loved about the show. There were a couple episodes that I really, really loved. I really loved the, I can't remember what the monster's called, so I'm just going to call it the incest episode.
Oh, I don't have any of my stuff in here.
I have the book right here. It's, the episode, where with the monster that was like
the cursed monster, the princess. Yeah.
The princess.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like there's Clancy.
It starts with an S. I wrote it down like 5 hours ago. This is how bad my memory
is.
It
does start with an S.
Anyway,
so is it a Sobek? It's not a Sobek, is it?
Oh yeah. That might be right.
Okay, well maybe that's what it is. I loved that episode. I really loved that story too, actually, in the book. Those were two of my favorite episodes and stories from the whole thing that's going on.
They did change the Renfrey episode. In the story. It takes place, I don't know how many stories later, but it's the first one. It's the very first episode of the very first season. So that was interesting.
I think that my guess is that they stuck it at the very beginning because it is like to introduce his
destiny,
his introduction to his destiny, because Siri's not even I don't think her parents have even been born at this point. Like,
yeah, I don't know the timeline
in the time, like when the whole Renfrey thing happens, and then it becomes
the thing that helped me when I was watching the show figure out how much time has go by is based on people's hair length growing. Other than that, and I think the Bard said one thing about what's it been 10 years or a century or something, and I'm sitting there going,
there's also, I was paying attention to it, like Geralt's in the first episode, the girl in the town,
the one who lures him to the
to the wizard,
sorcerer,
you're a wizard, to the sorcerer, and she's like telling him he needs to get new armor, and he's a young witcher at this point, so he like doesn't have a lot of money or something, I don't know, so there's that, like he's trying to scrounge for money, so then he has like better armor and better just overall looks like.
So I have a question, and I don't know if I'm giving anything away from the second season or not, because it's hard to tell what I misunderstand versus what I actually might be right about. But I feel like in the show, they make it seem like the Witcher is like his mother dropped him off to be turned into a Witcher. Yeah. That's what I got. Yeah. In the book, it sounds like they're born that way. Oh, there was a comment at some point in the book when it's something like the way you were born,
or maybe you have to be like a child of destiny or something.
I don't know, but then I don't know. So that was confusing to me, because in my head, because I had seen the show first, it was you were made into a Witcher, not that you were born a Witcher or whatever. So and I know they do things to make you like a Witcher, but the way the book led me to the way they made it sound was that like you're kind of like predestined, whereas in the show it felt like the mom straight up just like dropped him off. And he was heartbroken over it.
That was heartbreaking. Issues. That was super heartbreaking. So. There's a lot of interesting themes in the show, especially in the show, that maybe come across later in the books, but like there's a lot of stuff about like parents and children and those kinds of relationships, because Yennefer's whole thing is that she wants a baby, and she's mad about, and that's different between the books. So in the books it's like sorcery like shrivels up their reproductive organs or something like that, or petrifies them, I think that's what they say. But in the show they like very vividly like remove her uterus and ovaries while she is awake.
Yeah, because doesn't he say that you have, the guy who's doing it, I forget what they call him, but you have to give something to get something sort of thing, right? That's the cost or something like that.
And then Yennefer's it seems like maybe she didn't know what he had to do or what he was going to do, that he was going to take out her ability to have children. And she then is like very resentful and angry about it. But there's that episode, that scene.
She saves the baby. Yeah. I think that's what did it, honestly. I think for me, I don't think she grasped it because she didn't care. Like, she was so power hungry. I don't think she cared. I think it was when she was trying to save that baby and it died. I think that was probably
when she
what
realized,
because they had did a whole scene with her just sitting there, like talking to herself,
the baby,
and talking to the baby and like saying a goodbye sort of deal. And I think that might have been the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And she came back for the baby. Like, she risked her life to save that baby.
After the mom was like, straight up, here, take the kids, save me. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that part breaks my heart. It's really hard to watch. But there were I really liked them both for different reasons. I felt like that they both have, the book and the show have their strengths. I don't feel like, I enjoy both quite a bit. I did too.
And I think they really helped. They do each other service. Like I was saying, is I really like the visuals of being able to watch the show because my brain, how it works. But I also really enjoyed being able to listen to the book because it gave so much more backstory that it made so much more sense to me in a lot of ways. Because again, like you were saying, there's 8 episodes. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much that, you can portray in somebody's actions versus being in their head. Right. So it all makes sense, like why they couldn't do certain things justice. But when you are basing a story on all this like world building and all these laws and destiny, like that kind of stuff needs to be like really clearly explained. And I think they did a decent job. Like when I went back and I watched it again, I got it, but I'd also read the book again, or I'd watched it again and read the book. So it started to make more sense to me on top of, I don't know. It just, I think they just there's just certain things that need to be explained or a little bit more, but I know it's hard. So,
one thing I feel like came across a little bit more clear in the book is just his powers, like what exactly he can do. Cause it's very muddled in the show. I feel like he's not he doesn't have magic exactly, not like Yennefer, but it's almost like he can nullify magic. But the thing that I feel like
he's like immune to certain magic.
Yeah. But I feel like, but he also has like heightened senses, or he can see better,
and then he can drink the tonics and he has extra whatever.
But his medallion that I didn't understand in the show, but in the book, his medallion like tingles when there's magic around. It's like
one thing I want to say too, because I'm sure there's some people out there like me where, maybe you watch the first season and you're like, oh, it was good, whatever. I'd watch the second one. I enjoyed it, and I'm a huge Henry fan, and I just overall, like, I mean, it's great acting, great, visual effects, super fun. I mean, that was the cool thing, is like, it's almost like watching an episode of the X-Files, right? Everything is a different monster that they're trying to, a different whatever, alien or whatever. So that was really cool, the way that they did that. But the second season, hands down, I loved it. So if you're on the fence at all, or you've been putting it off, you should watch the second season, because and
you should watch the first season first.
Oh no, I'm assuming you might have already. Like, I'm just saying, if you watch the first season, you're like, oh, it's all right, whatever, I'll get to the second season later. I personally, that made me a quote unquote believer, because I'm like, oh, now I can't wait for season 3.
Yeah.
I was hemming and hawing about the first season, but I loved season 2.
Well, I am very excited to continue season 2, and see where all of these characters who I really like are heading.
I know you're going to ask this question, so I'm going to ask you first. Are you going to keep listening and reading?
I'm not sure. My hesitation with continuing reading stems from multiple places. One is I really, really prefer books that are first person. And it's just really hard for me to fully sink into the characters and the story when it's in third person. My brain doesn't connect as well. And I also really, really prefer books that are narrated by a female audiobook narrator, and that feature a female main character. So nothing against Geralt. I love him. But like if Yennefer was in there more, especially in this, like as like a point of view character, I would be like, yes, definitely, for sure. I'm going to continue this. But I just, as much as I love Geralt and seeing more of his, what's going on in his head and stuff, it doesn't pull me in quite as much as the show does. And I think it's Yennefer. Yennefer is like the thing, like she's my link.
You know what I think it is too? I think there's the mystery of The Witcher too. In the show, there's a lot more mystery, right? Because
and there's romance. There's so much more like, I mean, romance and like the like sexual romance, but there's also like the romance of the visuals and the settings and
the bard singing to you, actually singing to you. And
and the yeah, I don't know. It's a very magical book. It's also a very magical show. And I think the show is a little bit more heartbreaking. But again, all of this commentary is coming from only having read the one short story collection.
Yeah.
So there very easily could be a lot more female leads that are incorporated later on. So I don't know. I'll have to look into it. What about you?
No, but and it's not I think the narration great has nothing to do with like point of view or anything like that. It's really the genre for me. It's too hard for me. And we were talking about how I have limited time to read, and I have so many books that I want to read and or listen to, and it's just I'm sure I would enjoy all the other ones, but I really want to spend my time gobbling up the books that I really want to listen to and read. So I'll keep watching the show, and I don't know.
I 100% am continuing watching the show. I will say that for sure. But there are a lot of books out there that so nothing against Julia Quinn, but I read what is the first book?
Duke, something about the
Duke and I. Is it The Duke and I?
I haven't read it. But...
I read or listened to the audiobook after I watched the first season of Bridgerton.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's very different from the show. And it was a little bit more different than I was expecting. Not enough that I didn't want to continue, but just enough that there were other things that were pulling me towards them more. And I feel like that's what's probably going to happen with The Witcher, the books for me.
I think it's just, I don't know, like I know the Smoke, Shadow and Bone, right? Is that what it's called?
That's another one where I started the second book and I didn't continue with it. Not because it wasn't good. I just like, it's the problem if I watch a series before I read the books is I just get stuck with the like, I don't know. It's like whichever one I
don't know. So I'm the same thing though. I would have never picked up either of these books on my own anyway. Like, again, they're not my genre. So I'll continue watching the show because I really like that they had all the different characters that aren't even in the first book.
Yeah.
I loved that. So for me, and I know we had a whole show talking about this, so I won't go into it, but I think it just boils down to if it's my genre and if it really has me hooked. If it's something that I have to really pay attention to like, I think that was the problem with the reading this book or listening to it is every time doing something else while I was listening to it, for me, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I kept rewinding it because I kept thinking I was missing something important because you have to pay attention because they're explaining something, you know?
Yeah, it did help. I feel like having watched the first season of the show helped with some of that because I could like Nilfgaard and Sintra and like like place names and stuff. Is it the same thing with rewatching season 1, which is like if you're feeling like you can't remember what happened in season 1 or you thought season 1 was confusing and you watched it a while ago, I totally would recommend rewatching it because I understood it way more this time.
Down, me too.
Yeah, because I went into it expecting these weird timelines. I actually understand, like I had no clue that like the how the different stories like linked up, and it does all kind of come together at the end, like with the like incest king coming to and like how it was all kind of, it also in a weird way, it all kind of revolves around Geralt and his refusal to like listen to destiny, like receive his destiny. But it also, it's like things that he did years ago like have effects, and even like things that happen, like we see the incest siblings when they're kids at the ball.
Yes, I was like, that's
what?
who they were.
What?
So okay, I totally got that.
Yes.
I was like, didn't I just see their painting on the wall?
Ada,
oh my god, that was so weird.
Ada and I can't remember what the king's name is, but they're just kids there. When Yennefer comes in, does her big reveal, there's just like a very brief little thing.
Same kid. Oh my god, I totally saw that. And I've seen, okay, again, that was my third time watching it. I would not have gotten it had I not been paying more attention. So I definitely it all more. I definitely would recommend that. And the second time I watched it through, I didn't realize that part of the reason that Yennefer was so mad, well, she had all the reasons in the world to be mad at the sorcerer who had like betrayed her and spilled some of her secret. Her lover. From before. The researcher guy. And then I had no idea the first time I watched it that he was like an archaeologist for the bad people. Like he was working for them. He'd like sacrificed his principles to do the research that he wanted to do. And that's why she was like we can still, go run away together and be together. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna keep doing this. Thanks. And she's just kind of like, the fuck. Exciting. I don't know. It's so funny that I'm more excited about the series now than I ever was before. I don't know. It's funny to me. It's funny to me, but I mean, I'm super excited. So speaking of Shadow and Bone, like I'm super excited for when Shadow and Bone season 2. It's not out yet, is it? I'm very excited. Oh my god, Ben Barnes is the Dark Lane. Like I'm totally gonna rewatch that season 1. Like, and since I have read the book, I feel like I'll understand it more. But god, he just like I love the Darkling. I will say, like, people call I wanted to mention this. So people call Geralt morally gray, but I feel like he is actually very like morally stalwart. Like he has like a very true moral compass. I felt like people say that. And I was like, I don't think that's true at all. To me, it's the world is morally gray. The entire story, people are trying to pay him to do horrible things. And he's like, no. And he's like, just because, like in the description, it says like things that look monstrous aren't always evil. And, that is totally his thing. He's like, that's why he has the child surprise. He fights to protect the hedgehog knight. He fights to protect the dead dragon's egg. He fights to protect, the incest princess. He couldn't kill her. He like, and it was the same in the book. And I just feel like he is very clearly good and knows what's right. And it fits with like the morally good, like the morally right. And the world that he is in is corrupt. That's my take on it. I mean, that's the whole reason why the Elven King, he's not a king, I don't know if he's a prince, whatever he was, but the whole reason why he didn't kill him too when he was captured in the beginning. And like the whole situation with Renfrey, like he didn't want to kill her. And Stregobor just like sets him on this path and makes it like he doesn't have a choice. So I would have never said that he was morally gray whatsoever. I feel like he's very clear. His character is very clearly set for who he is. He's not, he is like the upstanding person in this world. Like, Which I think is part of the like sadness and the irony, right? Is because he wants to be part of humanity so bad, but he's better than humanity. So
yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
it is.
Like,
And that calls back to the final story, The Last Wish, you know, and Yennefer is like,
oh, I just caught that. The Last Wish. Yeah. I never call the book by its name. I said The Witcher. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Yennefer says like, don't you want humanity? You want to be a part of humanity. And it's like, he is already more human than any of the humans that we meet in this book.
But if you watch his show, his last wish is to sleep. So he actually sleeps.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
Anyway, so do you have any last words about?
I don't. I already kind of just said my piece. I enjoyed it. I loved it, but I also I really love it now, and I got hooked after season 2. So if you're on the fence at all, definitely give it a whirl.
Yeah.
My husband, I've tried to get him to watch it twice. He swears to me he's watched the whole first season. I said, you've barely watched the first episode. He goes, oh, I feel like I watched the whole season. I was like, you just say that because you're a hater. I bet you'd actually like it if you would watch more than one episode. I'm a hater.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for listening, everyone. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode's links and book recommendations. And we will be back in a couple weeks to chat about our first book club book, which is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which I have already read, but I'm gonna like skim back through to just recap myself because LP has never read it.
No,
and she is in for a surprise.
It's been on my to read list for like 6 months now, so I finally get to read it. I'm excited.
Yeah. And if you're enjoying the show, we would love it if you left us a rating and or review on iTunes, and don't forget to or a thumbs up on YouTube. And don't forget to join the No Shelf Control Facebook group, linked to in the show notes. That's going to be fun now. We had just been like posting like that there was a new episode out, but now that we're doing the book talk book thing once a month, we're gonna like put up a discussion post where people can chat about like the book club, book talk book that we're reading that month. So we'll put up something for From Blood and Ash, and
keep an eye out.
Yeah. So until next time, happy reading, everyone.
Happy reading.